And so, take a look right here. Why Apple is no longer a great stock. Who in the world is going to talk about Apple stock right now? As they're still innovating with their products, why would somebody say that Apple is no longer a great stock? I want us to break this article down to see if you feel the same way. Now, this is from Douglas A. McIntyre. There's nothing wrong with getting people's opinions. We value people's opinions. So even if they're right, even if they don't align with what we think, at least we can see what the other side of the market is thinking about. So let's see what Douglas has to say. Apple's run as America's greatest stock and most valuable company by market cap is over and will not change despite several challenges. China is the primary reason for Apple's downfall. China is. Please say more. There have been worries for at least a year that the iPhone 15 might sell poorly compared to recent generations. It may not have enough upgrades for the iPhone 14. It could be too expensive. Perhaps competing models like the Galaxy Z Flip 5 from arch rival Samsung has attracted Apple customers. So innovation, new design, more competition from Samsung and their competing phones, according to Douglas, is the reason why Apple is no longer a great stock. At least one of the reasons. Now, do you think the new developments features for the iPhone has been a little lackadaisical versus the products, the technology that Samsung places in their phones? For real. What new things has iPhone or Apple brought to the table in the cell phone industry besides colors and titanium? The iPhone had a modest sales increase based on the company's most recent earnings. Apple's revenue rose only 2% overall to $119.6 billion. iPhone revenue worldwide grew faster, but not by much. The increase for the quarter was from $65.8 billion to $69.7 billion. All right. The earnings report also shows that Apple's wheels fell off in China. Revenue for what Apple calls Greater China dropped from $23.9 billion in the year ago quarter to just $20.8 billion. China is the largest smartphone market in the world with over 900 million users. Apple cannot let that market slip. They need that market. This is what he's reporting on as to why China has been a downfall for Apple and one of the biggest smartphone markets in the world. Apple competes with local manufacturers in China, which is not a challenge in any large country. China-based Huawei has about a third of the market, as does Apple. I don't know how to pronounce that name. Xiaomi and Honor each have slightly less than 10%. Samsung has a presence in the market as well. And people have downgraded Apple because of worries in China. Yeah, the competition is fierce, I agree. Unlike in the US and much of Europe. Without healthy growth in China, Apple prospects are mediocre. Mediocre. So what things do you think Douglas failed to mention in this article as to why Apple could still be a great stock? I will give you two. The first one is the Apple vehicle, the Apple car, that supposedly they did push the date back. I think it's supposed to be in 2025, 2026. And then what about AI? Yeah, those are two things that Douglas doesn't even mention that it will have a massive impact on the value and revenue Apple brings in, undoubtedly. See, that's the thing about Apple versus Samsung. And I give credit to Apple for doing this. All of the products that they created, the iPhone, the iPad, iTunes. They created markets to go alongside the product that they created. Yeah. You got the iPhone, you got the App Store to download software. You got music, they created iTunes for their iPods. So what do you think they're going to utilize AI for? Their watch? Into every facet of every product they've created thus far? Will AI be integrated into all of that? Because if so, that there will create more value and revenue that Douglas hasn't thought about, or at least didn't want to put in this article. And definitely with the Apple car. That is where I think Apple still stands to gain in terms of being a great stock. Here's my price prediction right now. Nothing has changed in regards to what we've been saying. Yes, we have seen an initial fall in price, but it came to an area that we talked about numerous times, the buy zone. So the market is still holding their firm. That's why we're not changing our prediction. But think about where you think Apple's going to be right now at 188.40 in the pre-market in the long term. Have we seen the market in Apple really top out? Because Douglas trying to tell us that it's not a great stock. Was he paid to say that? Because maybe he haven't seen the stock chart for Apple. This is a very bullish stock still. Now maybe market cap might dwindle. Cool. Which would translate over to a lower value stock. But maybe with the dollar losing as much value as it has, it would kind of offset that reduction in market cap as price still goes up. But yeah, this is the 6 month chart in Apple. And look at the last 6 months. The 6 months that started on January the 3rd, 2023. Look at that. We're just going to ignore that this 6 months period happened. Like we just not act like it didn't happen. And then in 6 months after that, I think Apple still wants to go up. I don't think the all-time high is into the market in Apple. So maybe Douglas in the next 60 years, this article will stand true, right? But as of right now, it doesn't look like it to me. So we're going to continue to look forward to the price action in Apple to trend to the upside. We'll recommend you guys check out my video to where we produce this price prediction and see why we think it's going to go the direction it is. Give me your thoughts though. Make sure you maintain profitability. And as always, trade different.